The ratings firm Egan-Jones has cut Italy from BB+ to BB. Its President Sean Egan joins us. Sean, welcome to In Business. Why are you lowering your rating on Italy right now?
Margaret, we lowered the rating for the simple reason that debt is growing while GDP is not. In fact, with the new austerity measures, it's going to become increasingly difficult to grow GDP, and so we want to reflect that in the cut of the rating.
Well, Moody's says that there's a rapid escalation of the crisis that puts all ratings for the Eurozone at risk right now. Is there something more immediate behind your decision today?
We've been watching. Our rating for Italy is significantly below the other rating firms. Our concern is that Italy, if it doesn't change quickly, is going to go the way of Greece, and that is that supporting their debt simply becomes too great a burden for the country, and it becomes increasingly obvious that the country is going to have to cut its debt and restructure.
Well, we know that Italy has to refinance like 250 billion euros within the next year. What are their options going to be?
Their options right now are, unfortunately, paying higher rates unless the ECB steps in a major way and offsets the rise in rates. A lot of institutions are trying to get out, and that's why you see a rise in rates, including for the 6-month term, despite the ECB's buying. It's overwhelming the ECB's purchases.
Now, these rumors, or reports, I should say, of an IMF intervention in Italy have been denied by the IMF itself. Why is this out there? Do you think these are sort of test balloons, trial balloons, or is this just a rumor mill?
There have been about 10 different trial balloons for solving the EU's financial problems, with the IMF just being the latest. Unfortunately, the IMF doesn't have the firepower along the lines that's been discussed. They can't afford a 600 billion euro bailout. Furthermore, simply throwing money at the problem isn't the solution. What has worked over the past is what the IMF has done. They have about 4 different levers actions that they take to address the sovereign problems, and really only about half of them have been used so far for Greece and Italy.
I mean, did you agree with what Moody's decided to do last week in terms of raising the red flag, and S&P also out there raising the red flag on Belgium?
You're absolutely right. In fact, we've been warning about it for the past year and a half. The problems of the EU are fairly deep-rooted and widespread. There has to be a much better solution than just throwing additional debt at the problem. They have to restructure the debt and get it back to an even keel so that the debt can be supported. That's not happening right now.
No. There are also rumors that the U.S. could in some way provide some support. We do know European leadership is at the White House today for some meetings. Is that a possibility, and what would that look like?
Well, the U.S. is the largest contributor to the IMF, so if the IMF is involved, either directly or via the ECB, then the U.S. is likely to provide some support. We think that there has to be a re-examination of how this problem is going to be solved. We don't think it's going to be just with the ECB purchases. We don't think it's just going to be throwing additional debt at the countries. It has to be much deeper than that to address this before more countries are engulfed. Greece is basically gone. They're going to have to, they've suggested a 25% of face repayment. They probably can't even support that. And you're likely to hear some talk in the near future about Italy's providing its investors with haircuts.
Sean, the financial markets have been very concerned about the exposure of banks and other participants in the marketplace to Europe. You've already said you're concerned about Jefferies needing to raise funds, $1 billion, you say. I want to offer you a chance to respond to something that an analyst said on our air earlier today about your research. Can we play that?
I don't have a dog in this hunt, as it were. I'm not recommending Jefferies, and a month ago I didn't know who Egan-Jones was. But there were such epic errors of fact in this second report that I thought somebody just needed to call it out.
Sean, Oppenheimer, this analyst there, taking a shot at you. Do you want to respond to that?
Our view stands on its own. Our report stands on its own. And that is that the environment has changed. The leverage, in our opinion, was too high for a BBB rating. We took action. The environment has changed a bit over the past couple months because of the difficulty investment banking with other investment banking firms. So people can read our own report and make their judgment.
So his concerns there about the initial revenues that were reported there as a decrease when it was an increase. Some of those errors, he says, are factual. Do you want to respond to that portion?
Sure. Our analysis is based on the balance sheet, the amount of leverage. The income statement was far less important. People can look at our report and make their own judgment.
All right, Sean, thank you very much for jumping on and giving us your analysis on Italy today. Appreciate it.